الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقا ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعوة لا تسمع. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربع. أما بعد، فحياكم الله جميعا في درس شرح منهج السالكين وتوضيح الفقه في الدين المؤلف للشيخ العلامة عبد الرحمن بن ناصر السعدي رحمه الله، المتوفى سنة 76 و300 وألف للهجرة، رحمه الله رحمة واسعة وأسكنه فسيح جناته. ثم أما بعد، فقد وقفنا أمس وكنا قد انتهينا من مسائل زكاة الفطر، واليوم إن شاء الله سنشرع في المسائل المتعلقة بمصارف الزكاة. مصارف الزكاة يعني أي الأهل أو الذين تصرف لهم الزكاة، الذين تصرف لهم الزكاة. لكن قبل أن نشرع في هذا الباب، كانت هناك مسألة وددنا أن نذكرها مرة أخرى، وهي مسألة زكاة العروض المباعة بالتقسيط. العروض المباعة بالتقسيط، أو استغفر الله، العروض المبيعة، ليست مباعة بل مبيعة. زكاة العروض المبيعة بالتقسيط. What does this مسألة mean? يعني those trade goods, that merchandise that is sold on taqsit for a number of years, how is the zakat of that supposed to be paid? And this was a mas'ala. We said we were going to repeat it today. And the khulasa of this mas'ala, and this mas'ala, why is it important? It's important because if you consider this, and if you are selling a car, let's say for 5 years installments for 50,000 riyals. So if you consider all of this 50,000 riyals that you're supposed to pay zakat each year for all of the 50,000 riyals, then you would be asking the owner of that particular commodity for too much, and this will be asking him to pay zakat every year for something that he would like to get rid of right away. If we don't ask him to pay any zakat and consider this as a dain, as a debt, and write off any kind of zakat, this is also problematic, because a large chunk of the urud in our times is sold on installments. So in this way, a lot of the urud al-tijara will not be liable for zakat. So this mas'ala was discussed in the majami' fiqhiyya, in the different fiqh councils, and the khulasa of their fatwa, the result that they had, and the conclusion that they reached, was that the owner of this ard, of this commodity, of this merchandise, will do the following. Now, let me give you first a dabit. He will be paying the zakat of the amount that he owns from the car, or from whatever merchandise it is, along with the profit for that year, for that year. So here it's important that, for example, that we give an example. And the example here that we will give is that of a car that is sold, and the car's value was 50,000, let's say, and the profit that he is going to earn from it, he's selling it for 75,000. Okay, so if he's selling it for 75,000, and the ard itself is valued at 50, in this case, at the very beginning, of course, this whole of the car belongs to the company, so they will be paying the zakat for the whole car. and the profit for that particular uh, particular year. So here, if he is getting a profit of 25,000, so every year he's getting a profit of 5,000. Every year he will be getting the profit of 5,000. So so for example, after the payment of 1 year has been made, this will be 10,000 riyals out of the 50. And sorry, this will be around 15,000 riyals, because 10,000 for the value of the car and 5,000 is the profit. So he will be paying the zakat for the profit, that is the 5,000, as well as for the rest of the car that he owns. And now, because ownership of the car is now divided, now 1/5 of the car is owned by the customer, and 4/5 of the car is now remains with the owner. So he will be paying the zakat of urud al-tijara for the 4/5 of the car, and along with the zakat of the profit, because nama nisab or ribh al-tijara, it takes the same time as the rest of the of the urud. Their hawl is the hawl of the urud. Then the year after 2-year payments have been made, another 15,000 has been paid. So now he'll be paying zakat for 30,000 of the asl of the car, the asl which had out of which 20,000 have been paid. So now remains 30,000. The remaining payment for the asl is 30,000, and the profit is 5,000, another 5,000 for this year. So he'll be paying zakat on 30,000 and the 5,000, or that is the profit of that year. Then the next year, the remaining amount will be 20,000, so we'll be paying zakat on 20,000, and another 5,000, that will be the profit of that year. And then 10,000, another 5,000, and then nothing, and the final any profit that he would make, that is the 5,000 riyals. So this is how the zakat of urud al-tijara that are sold on installments will be made. Here we had another mas'ala that I forgot to discuss with you, and that was related to the zakat of huli. When we discussed the zakat al-athman, and that is the zakat of the gold and silver and cash, etc., very important issue was the zakat of huli. Huli is that gold or that silver that is worn as jewelry, that you use as ornaments, as jewelry, and you don't store it or save it or accumulate it for the purpose of saving money. Rather, it is there for the usage for wearing. So this huli, which is jewelry, if it is, sometimes some people store it in the form of huli, but the purpose is to save money. In this case, that will be liable for zakat. But we are talking about that jewelry that is worn by the women folk, maybe even if it is once a year, maybe even if it is worn on occasions like on weddings, etc. Is that liable for zakat or no? In this mas'ala, there is khilaf amongst لحظة. No. The first qawl is, in this masala, there is a khilaf amongst Ahlul Ilm, and the first qawl is that there is no zakat in the huli. And huli, as you mentioned, is referring to that jewelry that is worn, even if it is worn occasionally by the women folk. And this qawl is very, you can say it has a lot of quwwah. Why? Because it has been narrated from a number of Sahaba. وقد روي هذا عن 5 من الصحابة: جابر, Ibn Umar, Anas, Aisha and Asma. Jabir, Ibn Umar, Anas, Aisha and Asma. 5 amongst the Sahaba, they have narrated, or it has been narrated from them that there is no zakat in huli. There is no zakat upon the huli. And um, طيب. And also there is this qawl of Al-Hasan al-Basri who says لا نعلم أحد من الخلفاء قال في الحلي زكاة. We do not know anyone from amongst the khulafa al-arba'a or other than them as well who يعني made zakat wajib upon huli. And this is another qawl there is of Amrah bint Abd al-Rahman which has been narrated from Yahya bin Sa'id al-Ansari قال أنه قال سألت عمرة عن زكاة الحلي. And Amrah is Amrah bint Abd al-Rahman was the student of Aisha radiallahu anha. Amrah bint Abd al-Rahman ibn Auf. So when he asked, Yahya bin Sa'id al-Ansari asked her about zakat al-Huli, فقالت ما رأيت أحدا يزكي. I never saw anyone paying zakat for it. And this is she is narrating to us what she witnessed in Medina, the amal of the Sahaba in her time. طيب. And Ibn Abd al-Barr, he mentions that لم يختلف قول مالك وأصحابه في أن الحلي المتخذ للنساء, that the huli, Malik, his stance and the stance of the companions of Malik from the Malikiyah, that they haven't differed with regards to huli, that there is no zakat in it. وأنه العمل المعمول به في المدينة. And this is what is applied in Medina. This is what is acted upon in Medina. So this is the amal of Ahlul Medina. Now in this kind of a case, the amal of Ahlul Medina is a very strong dalil because of the fact that a lot of Sahaba were there and their families. So if it is a practice that is, when it comes to common practices, common ibadat, the amal of Ahlul Medina is extremely important because the families of the Sahaba, they are settled there. So if it was something that was recommended or something that was supposed to be done, prescribed, legislated, they surely would have done it. And because they do not just depend on the narrations, rather they depend on the amal that is that they acquire through talaqqi and by looking at each other. There are 2 ways of learning about the deen. One is talaqqi, or talaqqi al-amali, you can say, or tawatur al-amali as they say, but tawatur is generally when a large number of people do it. But one way of learning about Sharia and its application is to look at the amal, and another is to look at the narrations. In Medina, you find the people not just depending on the narrations, rather depending on the amal of the Sahaba as well. So their amal is or their madhab or whatever the people of Ahl al-Medina fil jumla, a large number of them or most of them are upon, that is generally an indication of the soundness and authenticity of that madhab or that opinion. So Ibn Abd al-Barr mentions that this is what is acted upon in Medina. Now, as for the qawl thani, that is that there is zakat on the jewelry, and this is the madhab of al-Hanafiyyah. The Jumhur, طبعا, they say there is no zakat al-huli, but al-Hanafiyyah, they say there is zakat al-huli, and it's also a riwayah from Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, and they generally use the adillah amma, the general adillah to support this qawl. That's the adillah do not differentiate between general dhahab and dhahab that is worn for as jewelry, as huli. So because the adillah do not differentiate, so تبقى على عمومها. However, what seems to be the case because of the large number of Sahaba that are with the qawl al-awwal, it seems that the qawl al-awwal, which is that there is no zakat, is يعني more strong, and you can say more sound than the second one. Wallahu a'lam. Here also, there is a fa'idah that they mentioned that the ahadith that are mentioned with regards to zakat al-huli, they are either in the hadith that are marfu'a, that are mentioned from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are either صحيحة غير صريحة, or they are صريحة غير صحيحة. What is the meaning of صحيحة غير صريحة? It means that يعني they are either authentic, but if they're authentic, they are غير صريحة. They are not explicit with regards to يعني them addressing this mas'ala. And if they are صريحة, if they're explicit with regards to this mas'ala of zakat al-huli, then they are not صحيحة. So the hadith in this bab are either صحيحة غير صريحة or صريحة غير صحيحة. طيب هذا ما يتعلق بهذه المسألة. الآن إن شاء الله ننتقل إلى باب أهل الزكاة ومن تدفع له. قال المصنف رحمه الله. Yes, تفضل. تفضل.
Like the on the installment, like I have some confusion. Like as you said, the person, the profit every year the installment 10,000 and plus profit was 5,000. So 15,000 every year is the amount that the card should be paid on. 15,000.
لا.
First 15,000, second year 30,000, then third year it will be 45,000.
لا. You got it the other way. First year, and after the zakat of 1 year, the payment of 1 year has been made. Now, who owns 80% of the car? The owner of the company or the customer? No. The owner of the company owns 80% of the car, and 10%
yes,
or 20% is owned by the customer. So the owner of the company will pay zakat on 80%, that is 40,000 riyals, and the profit of that year, that is 5,000 riyals. So he will pay zakat on how much in total in the first year? He will pay zakat on 45,000 riyals. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Next year, after the payment for 2 years has been made. Now, who owns 60% of the car?
This is the company.
The company. And 40% is owned by the customer. So on the 40%, there is no zakat because that is for his possession, is for his own usage. As for this company, it owns the rest of the 60% for the business that it does. So now it will give zakat on the 60% that it owns, with which it will earn profit in the upcoming years, and it will give zakat on the profit of that year, that is 5,000. Do you get it?
Yes. So that will be 30,000 plus 5,000.
Yes. No. واضح الآن?
Yes.
And likewise, you'll keep reducing every year.
Okay, Sheikh. I understood.
الحمد لله. طيب الآن قال الشيخ رحمه الله لا تدفع الزكاة إلا للأصناف الثمانية. The zakat is not to be given to except to the 8 types that have been mentioned, الذين ذكرهم الله بقوله, that have been mentioned in the ayah, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل فريضة من الله والله عليم حكيم. طيب هنا we have a question. طبعا each one of these types must be discussed. So first, just before I start with each type, I just want to ask you, للفقراء والمساكين. All of these are majroor, right? So in masakini, what is the alama of jar?
Alama of jar is kasra.
Oh, and why is it the kasra, the alama of jar?
This is because this is from the jam'ul mutanahi, miskin, masakin.
Mumtaz. This is from the jam.
But this is like muhalla bi al. It is coming with al. So it was supposed to be mamnu min as-sarf, but since it has come with al, so it has become like munsarif or mu'rab. So it has
أحسنت. And it's a جمع تكسير. The alama of the jar here will be that of the جمع تكسير. It will not be considered from nun al because it has come along with an al here. A lot of people sometimes they get confused in shayateen and masakin. They because of the ya and nun at the end, they mistakenly think that it is jam'a mudhakkar salim. And then when you ask them that isn't jam'a mudhakkar salim supposed to have a fatha on the nun, they get confused. Why is there a kasra on the nun? Then they later they can realize. And this is, if you want to test someone's knowledge, it's a good way. And give them a sentence having shayateen as majroor or masakin as majroor, and ask them, isn't it jam'u mudhakkar salim? Then why does the noon have a kasra? So then they can their knowledge can be tested in that. طيب قال إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. طبعا يا إخوان فقراء فعلاء جمع فعيل فقير, and فقير is someone who is here the فعيل is بمعنى مفعول. مفقور means where is it taken from? طبعا فقر first of all refers to حاجة, but what is the asl behind it? Why is this word فقر used for حاجة? They say that if you know the spine or the vertebra, they're called فقرات, right? العمود الفقري and the فقرات or فقرات that are there in the spine. Each vertebra is called فقرة. So someone فقير is called فقير because the حاجة is so dire for him. The need, his condition is so you can say difficult that his back has been bent, and his the faqarat of his back have been pushed and inclined downwards because of this haja, and this it's to such an extent. So that's why he's called a faqir, or generally the haja is known as faqr. This is the asal of it, and they differentiate between faqr and before that I just want to add why miskin is called miskin. Masakin jam'u miskin, and it is mif'il because it is taken from sukun. So they say it's taken from sukun because someone is so needy that his body has come to rest, or it has the movement of the body has been reduced because of the haja. And they say that the faqir is, which one do they say is more needy, the faqir or the miskin?
Faqir is more needy.
Ahsan, they say the faqir is more needy, and they say faqir is someone who does not find enough for himself. He's always in need. And the miskin, they say that he does not find his haja for example for the whole of the year. This is one dabit that they mention. Another dabit is that has been mentioned by some of the Hanabila, and that is that the faqir is man lam yajid nisfa kifayatihi. He doesn't even find, he's not even able to have half of what he needs. So he's not able to fulfill half of his needs. This is faqir. And miskin is someone who finds more than half of his needs, but not all of them. So this is also a very good ضابط because من لا يجد كفاية سنة. If you say that someone who does not find enough for the whole year, there are very few people who have enough for the whole year. If you start people who pay zakat, even they cannot spend the whole year without without earning anything. So this way everyone would be considered a miskin. So this is a good ضابط that they mentioned, that faqir is someone who does not have enough or who does not who cannot fulfill even half of his needs, and miskin is someone who can fulfill more than half of his needs but not all of them. So this is a very good ضابط that they have mentioned. And also they mentioned with regards to the difference between faqir and miskin, the ayah from Surah Al-Kahf, they say أما السفينة فكانت لمساكين يعملون في البحر. So the miskin, they owned the safina, they were working in the sea. So but they were still considered masakin. On the other hand, مثلا الفقراء, they have been mentioned in Surah Al-Hashr, للفقراء المهاجرين الذين أخرجوا من ديارهم وأموالهم. So someone who cannot find anything, أخرجوا من ديارهم وأموالهم, they have been expelled from their houses, they have been, their wealth has been taken away, so they don't really find anything for themselves. So this is why they are fuqara and more needy. So these are some ayat that you can use as for istidlal. طيب. ثم so these are the fuqara masakin, and it's pretty much clear they are the ones who have حاجة who are muhtaj, well regardless of how you define faqir and miskin, they will be eligible for accepting zakat. طيب. ثم ذكر الله عز وجل والعاملين عليها. So who are the عاملون عليها? من هم العاملون عليها? Those are the agents that the jubat, or the agents who are sent, as-Su'at, Sa'i, Jam'u Sa'i, they are the ones who are sent to collect zakat. The zakat collectors, they are the عاملون عليها. So they can be given from, they are to be given from the zakat. Now, لحظة. And who are the ones مثلا who can be considered from the عاملون عليها? For example, someone who goes to collect the zakat, someone who notes down, keeps an account of the zakat, someone who distributes the zakat. All of the people working in the zakat department, from its collection to its accounting to its distribution, all of these will be considered as عاملون عليها. And this is if they don't have any particular salary from the Bayt al-Mal. If they have a particular salary from Bayt al-Mal, then of course they're not eligible for zakat. Now, طيب ثم قال والمؤلفة قلوبهم. ما المؤلفة قلوبهم؟ طبعا مؤلفة here is اسم مفعول, and قلوبهم will be the نائب الفاعل for المؤلفة. والذين تؤلف قلوبهم, والذين مؤلفة قلوبهم أو تؤلف قلوبهم. This is the meaning, and these are the people whom you are seeking their ulfa. They are seeking their closeness towards what? Closeness towards Islam. نعم. الآن closeness towards Islam can be for a number of reasons. Either it's someone, he's a non-Muslim for whom there is hope that he will accept Islam. This is مؤلفة من المؤلفة قلوب. A non-Muslim for whom we hope that he will accept Islam. So we bring him closer to Islam by giving him some money. Or someone who is harmful for the Muslims. And we expect that if we give him this amount of money, he will abstain from harming the Muslims. He will abstain from harming the Muslims. This one also will be considered from al-mu'allafati qulub. Or a new Muslim, whom if this amount is given, it will be a cause for him to become steadfast upon Islam. He will also be considered من المؤلفة قلوبهم. طيب هذه بعض الأصناف, or these are some of the types that come under مؤلفة قلوبهم. Person whom you are hoping to accept Islam, someone who you hope that he will abstain from harming the Muslims and hurting them. And number 3, someone who is a new Muslim and you hope for him to become steadfast. ثم قال وفي الرقاب, and riqab, literally it refers to the necks, but of course we know that riqab in the mustalah of the Quran, it generally refers to the two types of things. Either it is the slave or it is the captive, the prisoner. So في الرقاب, they say that two types come under this. The first one is the abd, if he is for example mukatab means someone who has made a deal with his master that he will be paying a certain amount to free himself, so he will be helped and cooperated with in paying this amount through zakat. And the second type that will also come from fi riqabi, and this is through qiyas, that those Muslims who are imprisoned or are captives of with the kuffar, then you can pay to free them from their capture. Now, so these are the two types that come under al-riqab. قال والغارمين, and gharimina again also is it includes, it's inclusive of two kinds of people. طبعا al-gharim is someone who has debts on him, and there are two types of people that come under this. The first one is the gharim who has taken money to reconcile between people, to reconcile between two disputing parties. So for example, if there is a dispute between two parties and he says, in order to reconcile between you, he takes some money from some people and says, okay, let us give both the parties a certain amount, or whatever amount they were disputing on, he gives the other party the same amount so that they stop disputing. This kind of a gharim, it is if he has the niyyah that he will take from zakat later on and compensate for the amount that he spent, then it is permissible for him to do so, and he will be eligible for zakat. And the second type of gharim is the one who has taken loans or debts for himself. So this and he's unable to pay it back. If he's unable to pay those loans back, then he is also eligible for zakat. So the gharimin also is inclusive of two types of people: someone who takes money with the niyyah of compensating for himself through zakat later on, and he takes money for the sake of reconciling between two parties, even if he is and not generally not a faqir or miskeen, but if he is doing it with this niyyah to reconcile between two parties, then he is eligible for zakat to compensate for what he had spent. And the next type of gharim is the one who takes loans and is unable to pay them back, is also from the gharimin. وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, and in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is referring to jihad. This is referring to fi sabilillah, is referring to jihad. And in some of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned al-hajju fi sabilillah, and he allowed one of the Sahaba to take the camels from the sadaqah for going for Hajj. They're going for Hajj. So the asl with regards to fi sabilillah is the jihad, and due to the hadith, we can say that it is also inclusive of the Hajj. وبناء عليه يعني ربما if there can be a qawl here. You need to look into this mas'ala, but there can be a qawl that if someone wants to perform Hajj, he can be given from the zakat. Wallahu a'lam. Based on this hadith. But this mas'ala needs to be looked into. There is certainly a qawl, but how strong it is, we need to look into this mas'ala. Fi sabilillah, so the asl is jihad, and not every project that is charitable is considered fi sabilillah, only those related to jihad, or that those matters that stand in place of jihad. For example, they mentioned that nashrul ilm, or propagation of knowledge, propagation of the religion. This is considered from al-jihad bil-qalam. So they mentioned that this also is eligible for zakat. Likewise, and based on this, they mentioned that a person, a talib ilm, who has freed himself for seeking knowledge for the sake of the ummah, then he can be given from the zakat based on this masrif, that is fi sabilillah. Fi sabilillahi wa ibn as-sabil, and ibn as-sabil is someone who has lost the way, or he has lost his he's a traveler who has lost all of his belongings, or most of his belongings, and he is muhtaj here. And he might be ghani in his own country, but he is muhtaj right now. So if he is muhtaj at this time, then he can be given from the zakat, and this is ibn as-sabil. نعم. فريضة من الله والله عليم حكيم. طيب بهذا إن شاء الله سننهي درس اليوم, and we will continue بإذن الله تعالى in the next class with the next بإذن الله تعالى the next مسائل. نعم. تفضل يا شيخ ويس. إذا if it is possible for you to ask on WhatsApp, it will be even better, because I had to leave right away. So would it be possible to ask on WhatsApp, inshallah?
Inshallah, okay, Sheikh.
Jazakallah khair. I'm so sorry, but because the Isha Salat might just have started, so I have to leave right away. Barakallah fikum. Jazakallah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.